This is the Phil Taylor Jones Show. Once again, we welcome you, and we're happy to have you with us. Today we come to you with saddened hearts as something tragic has taken place once again and has become all too familiar. This time, the site is Brussels. ISIS has taken credit for this heinous act. I'm Phil Taylor Jones, your host, and we're going to jump into this tragedy right now. Yes, in Brussels, 31 people confirmed dead, or at least at the time of this taping, and countless people injured. These senseless killings have been done by none other than ISIS. Yes, these people are all over the world, and they're committing heinous crimes. They're killing people, and they're infiltrating themselves within this refugee system that's going on, and it's causing havoc in many, many places. I was looking at a program on telly the other day, and there was a socialist, I think I'm saying this right, person that studies socialism or how societies interact. And he was saying how Europe is suffered irreparable damage by letting these people come to their shores with all of their baggage and all of their whatever. The economy is bad. Angela Merkel is looking like, well, I shouldn't maybe have done what I did, but I've done it, and now I don't know how to get out of it. Frank Holland of France is looking pretty much like Angela Merkel of Germany. And David Cameron, he's trying to get out of it because although his little area across the pond has been affected, not to the magnitude of France and Germany. And yet, people still are jumping on the bandwagon about, well, we should accept them. This is the humanitarian thing to do. When is it going to get into the heads of the people that we no longer live in a society where we can be accepting of anybody at face value? Even if some of these refugees are not terrorists, are not initially dangerous, we have to realize the inescapable fact that they come from war-torn countries and have been involved with violence for a great number of years. Some of the children there, that's all they've ever known, is the dropping of bombs, the firing of machine guns, the killing of family members or friends or community members, blood in the streets, and other horrid details that I care not go into. It's firmly fixed in their minds, and they could snap at any given time and become dangerous because that's all they've ever known. Again, it's happened. Again, people are in mourning. I don't know that they actually celebrate Easter in Brussels. Perhaps they do. If that is the case, they're supposed to be preparing for a celebration this Sunday. Now they're preparing for funerals. They're going back and forth to hospital to make sure and hope and pray that their loved ones are not going to increase that 31-person death level. This is insanity. When will it end? Will it end? Yeah, there are wars that are going on. There are supposed operations that are going on to get rid of ISIS. I think it's all in vain, like trying to get to heaven on an airplane. First of all, they don't know where all these people are. They're tripping over themselves, trying to find them. For all you know, you could be working with one. Oh, but we investigate these people. We're trying to make sure that everything is as safe as it can be. And there are 31 dead. You don't know where they are. You don't know where they've been. You don't know where they've come from. And you don't know what they're going to do. Why? Because you allow strange people to come within your midst. It's bound to happen. When will the world wake up and learn some sense? You cannot take in every stray cat you find in off the streets. You don't know whether that cat's going to come up and purr and rub up against you or scratch your eyes out. You don't know anything about that cat. So it's best to leave that cat to his own devices. Sure, you can have empathy, but not to the point where it makes you lose your life. I know I don't have that kind of empathy, and I'm not ashamed of it. First, or as they say, self-preservation is the first law of nature. And our exec has confirmed that they do celebrate Easter over there in Brussels in Belgium. So, as I alluded to before, they're now preparing for funerals and running back and forth to the hospital instead of preparing for this very sacred occasion. And it's crazy. Here in this country, there's a big fight going on between the head of the Apple Corporation, I believe his name is Tim Cook, and the FBI. They want him to open up and compromise the security system of the Apple products to get information about something that may or may not be there. Okay, let's just look at it for an instant quickly. Suppose they do get into the iPhone and they do find some information that there was going to be some kind of attack or further attack. Don't you realize that when they heard that these people bought it, that the plans they had made would immediately change, that they're not going to be stupid enough to try to implement a plan knowing that perchance it was on a cell phone? Do you not think that these people, when they got through sending the email or whatever communication that they did send, immediately erased it? These people are very methodical. That's why they've gone on for so many years and a lot of them not been caught. Instead of the FBI fighting with Apple, the FBI should have been fighting with the president to secure the borders, to keep these people from getting in here in the first place so that they wouldn't have to be worried about using a phone in a second. It's not so much about communication as it is about immigration. Keep them out. You don't know who you're letting in here. Common sense, common judgment. Again, I say, if you think that it's so right to let these strangers in your country, not knowing who they are, not knowing what they do, not knowing what's on their mind, I would challenge you to go out in the streets right now, find 5 strangers that you know nothing about, specifically foreign ones, and invite them to come live with you. It's a 50-50 proposition. 50% that you might come out of it with your life, and 50% you may end up in a box. Why? Because you don't know. Everybody's slamming Donald Trump. Oh, he's a racist. He's a fear-monger. He's a hater. He's Hitler. He's Mussolini. He's the devil in the deep blue sea. Why? Because the man exhibited a little common judgment. Forget the news bites you've heard, because they've automatically disrupted what he said to make you think what they want you to think. I heard the man when he said, we need to temporarily ban these people from coming to our country until we know what the hell we're dealing with. We need to stop this flow of people coming over in our country because some of them do bad things like rape and kill, and they do. If you think for 1 minute that everybody that crawls across our border comes over here to do us wonderful bidding, then you're a fool. There is a graveyard of news articles that prove you wrong. So many people have lost loved ones because of 3, 4, 5-time felons that have crawled across the border and killed innocent people. We no longer have our beautiful Twin Towers, World Trade Center. The Pentagon is not what it used to be, totally, because there was an airplane went through it and took a big chunk out of it. So there's a big new spot in the Pentagon, among other heinous things that have gone on at the hands of these foreigners who we let in our country. My home state, narrowing it down, San Bernardino, not 50 miles from where I live. 14 dead, several injured at the hands of terrorists, foreigners that have come to our shores to do us bodily harm. Just like Belgium, just like France, just like countless other places that these foreigners, these terrorists have gone and committed heinous crimes against humanity. But yet, you bang on the drum, you go out in the street in opposition to what Donald Trump is saying, or what anybody is saying, if they're saying that these foreigners shouldn't be here. Case in point, down in Arizona, these protesters of a Trump rally were standing in the streets. Poor old fellow was trying to get home, and he refused to stop. He kept going. One of them jumped up on his hood. You know, you need to stop. You need to stop. And then they got mad at one of the highway patrol. This is attempted murder. Aren't you doing your job? What are you doing about this? No, it's calculated suicide. If you're that stupid to stand in front of a moving car, then you deserve to die. In the middle of the street. Streets aren't for people, they're for cars. So unless you have a motor attached to your butt and wheels on your feet, you have no right to be there. But yet, Donald Trump is the heavy. Agitators go to his rallies, whether they're sent there by George Soros or Jeb Bush or Clinton or Sanders, I don't know. Maybe they're just idiots and don't like what the man is saying and they go to disrupt. Will they go there, they disrupt, either Secret Service or Trump's own security or whomever, throw them out, and then he ends up being the heavy. God, what has happened to the mentality in this society? When is it the new norm that the people that perpetuate the crimes are now the heroes and the ones who stop the crimes are the villains? Oh, pardon me, I forgot. Wrong is the new right in this society. So it doesn't surprise me. Today or yesterday it was Belgium. Brussels. Where will it be today and tomorrow? If we maintain this idiocy of allowing any and everybody to come into what we call home, it could be happening in a city near you. Count on it. Because we have nobody in office to protect us. Look at this idiot old bastard down there snuzzling up with the Cubans, trying to push his democracy. Castro has already said with great reverence that he has no intention, nor did his brother Fidel. Did I say that with the little flair, Fidel? Mm-hmm. They have no intention of becoming democratic. They love the communist way. Russia backs Cuba. China backs Cuba. North Korea backs Cuba. All communist, all friends, all buddy-buddy, and they back each other. But old bastard going down there standing up in front of murals of people that hate us and try to kill us. Oh, we're going to still preach democracy, and we're going to still push this, and we're going to still this. Spending up all that money, the little talks and things he had with Castro, he could have done those on the teleconference. Spending up all that money, cranking up Air Force One to go down there, him and his pitiful looking wife or husband or whatever the case may be, and those pitiful kids on a holiday, spending up America's money. Ridiculous. Why beat a dead horse? The people probably don't like the system of governance by which they're under, but they've come to accept it. We've done fine without Cuba for all these years. No president has been down there in 80 years until he went loping his stupid looking butt down there. Why? Does it all center around Guantanamo Bay? Why, in the name of J. Jonah Jameson, who's stealing a life from Spider-Man, why would you have a prison system in a foreign land and then, to add insult to injury, in a communist land? Why can't you have Guantanamo Bay, say, in Puerto Rico? That's a commonwealth of the United States. It's connected to the United States. Have it there. The mentality by which these politicians go by, it just, it boggles the mind. Politicians here in the United States, idiots. Politicians around the world, idiots. Degradations of their nations, getting countless people killed by their irresponsibility in running their governments, looking after the needs of their people, their nation. As I said before, it's become all too common. But once again, the Phil Taylor Jones Show and everyone here, our hearts go out to those many families who lost loved ones or have loved ones that are in the hospital fighting for their lives and wondering if they will see tomorrow. It's shameful, and it needs to end. Exec, you got anything?
Besides a sad heart and feelings for all the poor people that lost their family and the people that are hurt and injured, a few news bites here and there. It's a terrible thing that happened to any country, any place, any people, any person, And I wish them all the best in trying to recover from this terrible incident and terrible ordeal. But speaking of the Trump man, I did find a few quotations from CNN Politics website from when he had an interview with Fox News, speaking of Brussels. He says, "I will tell you, I've been talking about this a long time," and with that he's referring to the Syrian refugees or ISIS/Muslim Islamic extremists being problems for countries. I've been talking about this a long time, and look at Brussels. Brussels was a beautiful city, a beautiful place with zero crime, and now it's a disaster city. It's a total disaster, and we have to be very careful in the United States. We have to be very careful and very vigilant as to who we allow in this country, and it's very true. I agree with that. He goes on further to say on Fox, describing Brussels now as an armed camp. Mm-hmm. If you went into Brussels 20 years ago, it was like a magical city. Now you look at it, it's an armed camp. You want to lead your life. You don't want to be living in an armed camp for your whole life. And there is a certain group of people that is making living a normal life impossible. And he's right, that's not the way a country should be, just in danger and seeing troops walking around all the time in a military state. It's really stupid about allowing all these people to come here and these people chanting that you were alluding to earlier on the streets, immigrants are welcome here. Well, pardon me to all hell and back, but you don't speak for me, you don't speak for my brother, you don't speak for a lot of Americans, and you certainly don't speak for the entire country by saying immigrants are welcome here, because your voice doesn't dictate what other people believe or what other people don't want. And we don't want the same thing happening to our people. A lot of people being killed because of these Syrians coming over here. And anybody that thinks they're good for the country or is against Trump for that purpose, that he doesn't want them here, at least against that part of what he's trying to do, his campaign, like I said before, is an un-American, because why would you want the same type of people that took down the Twin Towers on September 11th to be in the country? It's the same group of people, ISIS/Islamic extremists from Syria. That's where Muslims are in Syria. Why would you want them here? You know, it's just done nothing but cause grief everywhere they go. You know, there is some good ones, I assume, but it's few and far between compared to the ones that are terrorists and stuff. So that's my spin on it. People need to get smart, like Trump says, and need to stop letting these people over here that are questionable and try to take care of the ones we already have first. And right back to you.
True. You know, in fact, some of the people that were being interviewed in Belgium were saying that indeed they wish they had a Trump over there to, you know, bring to the people's vision that everybody just creeping into your country is not a good thing. And now there are 31 dead, with that number possibly, hopefully not, but possibly on the rise. Imagine standing at the airport or waiting at the airport for your flight, or just coming in from a flight and being blown to smithereens, or standing there waiting on the train and being blown to smithereens. Just normal things that everybody does in life. And you can't do them anymore because of some idiots that have come into your country, you know, with the government waving them on to kill you. It's unconscionable to think that anyone would be in opposition to a life-saving suggestion. But as I was watching this program that my brother alluded to on telly, how sad it was to see the protesters being mostly American citizens protesting something like that. So, here's what I say. You want these people here? When they blow your butt to smithereens, you come back and tell me how that worked for you. Because it doesn't work for anybody else in the world that that's happened to. So you better wise up, you better get smart. Immigrants may have been good for countries, but they're not anymore because it's too much of a risk. Why be half safe? Leave them where they are. They don't need to be here. As I was saying before, the socialists said that the damage is irreparable financially, ecologically, socially. They come in with all of this waste, both just garbage that they generate and then human waste. You think of all of these thousands of people with no facilities. You know, all of the places don't have the little porta potties. They just squat and live it. Hate to be graphic here, but that's what they do. And you multiply that by hundreds of thousands of people, multiple times a day, day after day, week after week. You see where I'm going with this? I'm even off the screen. Okay. It's too much. Gotta stop. Once again, to the folks in Brussels, our hearts are with you, and we hope that you can find some kind of healing through this process. Gather yourselves around each other and remember your loved ones that you've lost, the wonderful times that you've had. Gather near to the injured. We know that the people of Brussels have a grand resolve, and you'll get through this, but our hearts hang low and heavy along with yours. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. We'll see you next time on the Phil Taylor Jones Show. Bye-bye.